What we feared didn't happen. What we expected happened. Yesterday, when I told you China has turned off the tap, some of you said I was exaggerating. Some of you said the banks have reserves, that the system can handle a supply shock. I wish I was exaggerating. I wish I was just a crazy guy on the internet screaming at clouds. But I'm not. This morning, at exactly 8:30 a.m. New York time, one of the largest bullion banks on Wall Street sent a quiet, unassuming email to its top-tier institutional clients, the family offices, the hedge funds, the people who manage billions. The subject line didn't say "Good morning." It didn't say "Market update." It consisted of two words that strike more fear into the heart of a financial professional than nuclear war: force majeure. Do you know what this means? This is the bank looking you in the eye and saying the silver that your account statement says you have is not there. And because of circumstances beyond our control, we are not giving it to you. Right now, as I speak, there are reports coming in from London. Armored Brinks trucks are sitting idle outside the vault gates of the LBMA. They are waiting to pick up metal for delivery, but the gates are not opening. The phones at the trading desks are ringing off the hook, but nobody is answering. The customer service reps have evaporated. If your money, your gold, or your silver is inside the banking system right now, I am sorry to tell you this, but those assets are no longer yours. You are now just an unsecured creditor of a bankrupt institution. The robbery has officially begun, and you are locked inside the building. Let's get into the forensic evidence. I want to show you the body. I have obtained a screenshot of the internal communication sent by the precious metals desk of J.P. Morgan Chase to a client who requested the physical delivery of 50,000 ounces of silver this morning. This is the crime scene investigation. We are going to dissect this email like a coroner dissects a corpse, because buried in this corporate lawyer speak is the admission of total insolvency. The email reads, "Due to unprecedented supply chain disruptions originating from the new export controls in Asia, we are currently experiencing severe logistical challenges in sourcing good delivery bars. Consequently, effective immediately, all physical redemption requests are suspended under the force majeure clause of your custody agreement until further notice."
Stop. Rewind. Read that again. Logistical challenges. That is the lie of the century. When a bank says logistical challenge, what they really mean is, we sold the same bar of silver to 500 different people, and the first guy just showed up to take it. It's not a logistics problem. Trucks work, ships work, planes work. If the silver existed, they could move it. The problem isn't the truck. The problem is that the vault is empty. They are blaming China. They are saying it is not our fault. Beijing changed the rules. This is the classic force majeure escape hatch. In legal terms, force majeure is an act of God. It's a hurricane, an earthquake, a war. But this is not an act of God. This is an act of fraud. They knew the vaults were draining. They knew the leverage was 100 to 1, but they kept selling the paper contracts anyway. And now that the music has stopped, they are hiding behind a legal clause to avoid going to prison. To understand exactly how they are stealing from you right now, I need to use the cloakroom analogy. Imagine you go to a fancy nightclub. It's winter. You have a beautiful, expensive cashmere coat. Let's call it your physical silver. You go to the cloakroom, hand over your coat, and the attendant gives you a ticket. That ticket is your silver account at the bank. You enter the club, you dance, you have a drink. You feel secure because you have the ticket in your pocket. You think you own a coat. Wrong. You don't own a coat. You own a claim on a coat. While you were dancing, the cloakroom attendant took your coat and rented it out to someone else. Then he sold it to a guy leaving the back door. Then he took 100 other people's coats and shipped them to China. Now the fire alarm goes off. That is the China export ban. Everyone rushes to the cloakroom at once. You slap your ticket on the counter and scream, "Give me my coat!" The attendant looks at you, smiles nervously, and points to a sign on the wall that says, "Force majeure." He says, "Sir, due to logistical issues, we cannot return your coat, but good news, we will pay you the cash value of the coat." And this brings us to the most criminal part of the operation, the cash settlement trap. You might think that if they can't give me the silver, at least give me the money so I can go buy it elsewhere. But here is the trick. Here is the knife in your back. What is the value of your coat? The bank says, "Look at the screen. The spot price of silver is $30, so here is a check for $30. But you scream, "Are you crazy? I can't buy a coat for $30. Outside on the street, people are selling coats for $100. The attendant shrugs. "Sorry, the computer says $30. Take it or leave it."
This is what is happening to the institutional clients right now. They are being cash settled. The bank is forcing them to accept paper dollars at the manipulated, suppressed spot price. But in the real world, the physical world, you cannot get silver for $30 or $40 or even $50. The premiums have exploded. The real price has decoupled from the paper price. So by forcing a cash settlement, the bank is effectively stealing 70% of your purchasing power. They are paying you in a currency that is crashing, based on a price that is fake, to cover a liability they cannot fulfill. It is the matrix glitch. You are looking at two different realities colliding. On one screen, the CNBC screen, the Bloomberg terminal, silver is trading at $30.50. It looks calm. It looks managed. On the other screen, the real world, dealers are sold out. eBay auctions are hitting $100. Industrial buyers are bidding in panic. Which reality is true, the pixel or the metal? The system is glitching because the lie can no longer cover the truth. The paper market is a zombie. It is dead, walking around pretending to be alive. But the force majeure email was the headshot. It's over. And let's be clear, this is a bank siege. My sources in London tell me that the situation outside the vaults is tense. We are seeing irregular activity. Usually, armored trucks flow in and out of the LBMA vaults smoothly. Today, drivers are reporting that they are being turned away. Why would you turn away a truck that is there to pick up metal? Because there is nothing to put in the truck. And it's not just London. In New York, at the COMEX warehouses, we are hearing reports of audit failures. The auditors went in to count the bars, and the bars weren't in the allocated slots. They were leased out. They were in transit. This is the shell game ending. I want to invoke the time machine. I want to take you back to March 2022, the nickel crisis on the LME. Do you remember what happened? A massive Chinese tycoon got caught short on nickel. The price exploded. He was about to lose billions. He was technically bankrupt. Did the exchange let the market work? Did they let him fail? No. They literally turned off the machines. They canceled the trades. They rewound the clock and said these trades never happened. They stole the profits from the people who were right to save the crony who was wrong. What is happening today in silver is the LME nickel crisis multiplied by 1,000, because nickel is an industrial metal. Silver is a monetary metal. When silver breaks, the currency breaks.
They are declaring force majeure not to save a tycoon, but to save the dollar itself. If they admit they have no silver, the price goes to infinity. If the price goes to infinity, the dollar goes to zero. So they are locking the doors. They are freezing the accounts. They are sacrificing you to save themselves. And don't think this is just an institutional problem. You might say, "John, I don't have millions at JP Morgan, I'm fine." Are you? Check your mobile banking app right now. Go into your investment tab. Look at that silver certificate or gold account you bought. You see a number there, don't you? Maybe it says you have 100 grams or 500 ounces. That number is a lie. That number is an IOU. Try to sell it. Try to withdraw it.
I challenge you. Pause this video, open the app, hit the Withdraw Physical button if it even exists. I bet you get an error message. Service temporarily unavailable. System maintenance. That is the digital version of force majeure. That is the bank telling you that your vestiary ticket is worthless because the coat is gone. This is the us versus them moment. The them are the banks, the central planners, the people who sold paper promises. They are currently in a boardroom, protected by lawyers, drafting emails to tell you that you are poor. The us are the people who hold physical, the people who listened, the people who have the metal in their hand, not in an app. If you are holding physical silver right now, you are watching the world burn from inside a fireproof bunker. If you are holding paper, you are the fuel. The decoupling is the most violent economic event of our lifetimes. When the screen says $30 and the street says $100, the market is broken. Arbitrage is supposed to fix this. Traders are supposed to buy the cheap paper and sell the expensive metal, but they can't because they can't convert the paper to metal. The bridge is blown up. China blew up the bridge from the supply side. The banks blew up the bridge from the delivery side. We are now on an island of scarcity. In the next part of this video, I'm going to show you what happens next. If the banks can't deliver and the price is fake, how does the system reset? I'm going to reveal the Project Sandman protocol, the secret plan by the BRICS nations to introduce a silver-backed trade note that will officially bypass the COMEX and render the US dollar worthless in international trade. And I'm going to tell you exactly how to price your physical silver when the screen goes black, because soon there won't be a spot price, there will only be your price. Hold on to your seats. The bank run isn't coming, it is here. The doors are locked, the email has been sent, and the only way out is through the truth.
This is the secret that keeps the Federal Reserve Chairman awake at night. It is not inflation, it is not the debt ceiling. It is Project Sandman. For years, you have heard whispers about this in the dark corners of the financial internet. They called it a conspiracy theory. They called it a doom-monger's fantasy. They said that the US dollar's reserve status was mathematically invincible because there was no alternative. They were right until this morning. The moment JP Morgan sent that email declaring force majeure, the moment they admitted they could not deliver physical silver, they didn't just default on a contract, they defaulted on the legitimacy of the Western financial system. They handed the BRICS alliance the weapon they have been building for a decade. Project Sandman is not a sci-fi movie. It is the operational code name for a cross-border agreement between over 100 nations to simultaneously dump the US dollar in international trade and replace it with a commodity-backed unit of account. The trigger for this operation was always defined as a systemic settlement failure in the West. That failure just happened. The Chinese export ban was the bait, the Western bank default was the trap, and now the door slams shut. While you were looking at the spot price of silver on your phone trying to figure out why it is stuck at $30, the real action is happening in Shanghai and Moscow. We are receiving reports that the Shanghai Gold Exchange is preparing to launch a new international settlement note. Let's call it the M note. This is not a currency you can hold in your wallet. It is a trade vehicle. And here's the kicker. It is fully convertible into physical gold and silver. Not paper promises, not futures contracts, physical metal. Think about what this means for the global supply chain. If you are Saudi Arabia and you want to sell oil to China, why would you accept a US dollar? That dollar is an IOU from a bankrupt nation that just admitted it cannot deliver its strategic assets. That dollar is losing purchasing power by the second. Instead, China offers you the M note. They say if you accept this note, you can immediately exchange it for 1,000 ounces of silver or 10 ounces of gold, delivered from our vaults in Asia, which are full. Which currency do you take? You take the metal. You always take the metal. This is the death of the petrodollar.
We are witnessing the birth of the petro-silver standard. This is why the price of silver matters so much more than the price of a stock like Nvidia or Tesla. Silver is the bridge between the old economy of debt and the new economy of resources.
The West has debt, the East has resources. When the trust breaks, the debt becomes worthless and the resources become priceless. The force majeure declaration was the signal to the world that the West is naked. The emperor has no clothes and he has no silver. So what happens to the trillions of US dollars that are currently floating around outside of America? This is the nightmare scenario. This is the hyperinflationary tsunami I have been warning you about. For 50 years, we exported our inflation. We printed dollars and sent them to China for toasters, to Germany for cars, to Saudi Arabia for oil. Those dollars stayed overseas. They sat in central bank reserves. They greased the wheels of global trade. But now, if nobody wants them for trade, if Saudi Arabia demands silver and Brazil demands gold, those dollars have nowhere to go but home. Imagine $1 trillion suddenly rushing back into the US economy, trying to buy anything real: land, food, ammo, and yes, silver. This is not the inflation of 2022, where prices went up 9%. This is Weimar Republic-style currency destruction. This is the moment where money dies. And when money dies, silver lives. You need to stop looking at the screen price. I cannot stress this enough. The number you see on the COMEX, that $30 or $35, is a museum exhibit. It is a fossil. It represents a market that no longer exists. It is the price of a paper receipt that cannot be redeemed. In the coming days, you will see a phenomenon that economists call backwardation expand into a permanent state. Backwardation is when the cash price is higher than the futures price. It is the market screaming that it wants the metal now, not next month. We are already seeing the formation of a shadow market, or rather, the free market. On this market, the price of silver is not determined by JP Morgan algorithms. It is determined by desperation. I spoke to a private refiner in Idaho 20 minutes ago. He told me that he just sold a 1,000-ounce bar to a local manufacturing firm for $125,000. Do the math. That is $125 an ounce. The screen says 30. The deal was done at 125. Which price is real? The price where money actually changed hands is the only real price. The screen is a hallucination. This decoupling is going to confuse the herd. The average person will look at the news, see silver at $30, and go back to sleep. They will think, oh, it's not that bad. They will leave their money in the bank. They will leave their retirement in bonds. They are walking off a cliff because they are looking at a map drawn by the people who are pushing them. You are different. You know that the $125 price is the floor, not the ceiling. Because at $125, that manufacturer was happy to get the metal. He needed it to keep his factory open. He would have paid $200. He would have paid $500 because the cost of shutting down is millions. This brings us to the valuation problem. People ask me, John, when should I sell? When silver hits $500? When it hits $1,000? You are still thinking like a slave. You are still thinking in dollars. If silver hits $1,000, but a loaf of bread costs $200, have you made a profit? No, you have simply preserved your life. You do not sell silver for dollars. You spend silver. You convert it directly into other real assets. In the world that is coming, the world of Project Sandman, the dollar will not be the unit of account. Pricing mechanisms will shift. You will see real estate listings priced in ounces. You will see high-end cars priced in kilos. This has happened before. In Zimbabwe, when the currency died, people used gold dust to buy groceries. In Venezuela, they used silver flakes. It is not ancient history. It is the natural order of things returning after a century of paper manipulation. The banks know this. That is why they locked the doors. They are not trying to keep you out. They are trying to keep the remaining silver in. They are hoarding. The force majeure was a confiscation event. They stole your silver to use it as collateral to save themselves. They will use that metal to settle their own debts with the East, while they hand you a worthless check. It is the ultimate betrayal. But there is a silver lining, pun intended. If you hold physical metal, you are now the central bank. You are your own sovereign wealth fund. The collapse of the banking system destroys the liability side of the balance sheet, but it revalues the asset side. The debt is wiped out, and the collateral is repriced to infinity. You hold the collateral. Project Sandman is designed to crush the US dollar, but it boosts the value of anyone holding the enemies of the dollar. Gold and silver are the enemies of fiat. They are the kryptonite to the debt-based system. By launching this new trade note, the BRICS nations are effectively putting a floor under the price of silver that is thousands of dollars higher than where we are today. They are monetizing it. They are turning it back into money. And here is the most terrifying part for the establishment. They cannot stop it. They cannot sanction China for using silver. They cannot bomb Russia for using gold.
The US military is powerful, but it runs on logistics. It runs on chips. It runs on fuel. And all those things need to be bought. If the world stops accepting dollars, the US military stops moving. The force majeure was the surrender. It was the white flag. They admitted they ran out of ammo. So what is the timeline? These things happen slowly and then all at once. We are in the all-at-once phase. The force majeure was the dam breaking. The flood is here. Next week, you will see the introduction of capital controls. The government will limit how much cash you can withdraw. They will limit where you can send money internationally. They will try to trap the liquidity inside the US to force you to buy government debt. This is called financial repression. They will demonize you. They will call you a hoarder. They will say that holding silver is unpatriotic. They will say you are aiding the enemy. Do not listen. Protecting your family from a collapsing empire is the most patriotic thing you can do. You are preserving the seed capital that will be needed to rebuild after the fire. The Project Sandman rollout will likely happen in stages. Phase 1 is what we saw today, the rejection of the dollar for strategic resources. Phase 2 is the formal announcement of the new trading unit. Phase 3 is the total exclusion of the dollar from the Eurasian trade zone. We are in Phase 1. Phase 2 could happen next Tuesday. When it does, the gap between the paper price and the physical price will become a canyon. You won't be able to bridge it. If you are still waiting for a dip to buy, you are delusional. There are no dips in a currency collapse. There are only higher highs and lower lows measured in worthless paper. The $125 trade I told you about, that will look like a bargain by Friday. The window is not closing, it is painted shut. The only way to get silver now is to find someone who doesn't understand what is happening and buy it from them before they wake up. But everyone is waking up. The sound of the vault door slamming shut was loud enough to wake the dead. In the final part of this series, I'm going to explain how to navigate the capital controls. When the government tries to ban private ownership of gold and silver, which they might, how do you hide it? How do you transport it? How do you use it without getting caught? We are moving from financial advice to survival strategy. Because the banks didn't just go bankrupt, they went rogue. And in a world of rogue states, the only law is the law of the jungle.
We have arrived at the final chapter. And this is the hardest part to hear. We talked about the banks going bankrupt. We talked about the currency dying. But now we have to talk about the reaction. Do you think the most powerful government in the history of the world is just going to roll over and die? Do you think they are going to let the dollar collapse and let you walk away with all the wealth because you were smart enough to buy silver? No, they are going to fight back. And because they are bankrupt, they cannot fight with money. They will fight with laws. They will fight with force. We are moving from the phase of financial negligence to the phase of financial tyranny. The force majeure email was the white flag from the banks. The next email you get won't be from JP Morgan. It will be from the government, and the subject line will be Executive Order. History is your roadmap. In 1933, Franklin D. Roosevelt didn't ask nicely for the gold. He demanded it. He made it illegal for a U.S. citizen to own more than $100 worth of gold coin. He threatened 10 years in prison for hoarding. Why? Because the government was broke and they needed the gold to revalue the dollar. Today, the situation is worse. Today, they don't just need gold for money. They need silver for war. They need it for the missiles. They need it for the satellites. They need it for the grid. And you are sitting on it. To them, you are not a prudent investor. You are a strategic resource hoarder. You are an enemy of the state. This is where the capital controls come in. Next week, or perhaps the week after, you will see new regulations. They will start small. To combat money laundering and terrorism, all purchases of precious metals over $500 must be reported to the DHS. You cannot take more than $2,000 worth of metal across the border. Digital asset declaration forms at every airport. They are building a financial iron curtain. They want to trap the wealth inside the burning building so they can tax it, confiscate it, or inflate it away.
And their ultimate weapon is the CBDC, the central bank digital currency. The collapse of the paper silver market is the perfect crisis to introduce the digital dollar. They will say that the private banking system has failed. They will say JP Morgan couldn't deliver. They will say the crypto exchanges are scams. They will tell you that you need safety. You need the Fed coin. They will offer you a deal, a bailout. Turn in your physical silver and we will credit your Fed coin wallet at a fair government price. That price will be $50. The street price will be $500. If you take the deal, you are robbed. If you don't take the deal and you try to use your silver to buy things, they will label you a black market criminal. So, how do you survive? How do you navigate the underground economy that is forming right now? I am going to give you the survival protocol. This is not financial advice. This is freedom advice. Rule number 1, silence is security. Stop posting pictures of your stack on Instagram. Stop telling your coworkers you are buying monster boxes. Stop bragging on Reddit. In a starving world, the man with food doesn't shout. He eats in the dark. The biggest threat to your silver isn't the government. It's your neighbor who didn't prepare. When hyperinflation hits, when the grocery stores are empty, people will become desperate. If they know you have the money of the future, you become a target. Go dark. Be the gray man. Look poor. Drive an old car. Wear old clothes. But keep the king's ransom buried in the yard. Rule number 2, midnight gardening. If your silver is in a bank safe deposit box, it is already gone. The force majeure covers that too. During a bank holiday, they drill the boxes. It happened in Cyprus. It happened in Argentina. It will happen here. If your silver is in a home safe, it is vulnerable to a $5 wrench attack. A safe just tells a thief or a raiding party exactly where the goods are. You need to think like a pirate. Bury it. PVC pipe, end caps, silicone sealant, waterproof. Bury it deep, not on your property if you can avoid it, or in a place on your property that nobody would look, under the doghouse, under the rose bush. This sounds crazy, I know, but we are living in crazy times. When the confiscation order comes, you want to be able to look the agent in the eye and say, I sold it all last year to pay for medical bills. I have nothing. And you need to believe that lie.
Rule number 3, the parallel market. You will not be selling your silver back to the coin shop. The coin shop will be nationalized or heavily regulated. They will be required to take your ID and fingerprint for every ounce you sell. You will spend your silver in the peer-to-peer economy. This economy is already building. It is the mechanic who will fix your truck
for 5 silver ounces because he doesn't want worthless dollars. It is the local farmer who will give you a side of beef for a tube of silver eagles. This is how trade worked for 5,000 years. We are just returning to the baseline. You need to build relationships now. Find the people in your community who produce real value. Talk to them. Ask them if the dollar crashes, would they take metal? You will be surprised how many say yes. These are the people who will form the lifeboat when the ship sinks. Rule number 4, avoid the fool's gold. As the crisis deepens, scammers will flood the market with fake silver, tungsten-filled bars, silver-plated copper. You need to be your own central bank, which means you need to be your own auditor. Buy a high-quality magnet, buy a pocket scale, learn the ping test. If you're trading in the underground market, trust is good, but verification is better. One fake bar can ruin your reputation in the community. And beware of paper silver 2.0. Wall Street will try to launch new ETFs, backed by the blockchain, audited by AI. Do not touch them. If you cannot drop it on your foot, it is not yours. The only blockchain that matters is the chain of custody between your hand and the metal. We are at the end of the road. The force majeure was the bell ringing. The fight has started. The banks have defaulted. The government is preparing the cage, and the masses are still asleep. But you are awake. You have the information. You have the strategy, and hopefully you have the metal. Do not let fear paralyze you. Let it sharpen you. The next few months will be chaotic. They will be scary. But remember this: wealth is never destroyed. It is merely transferred. It is transferring from the people who trusted the lies to the people who held the truth, from the paper hands to the diamond hands, from the debt slaves to the sovereign individuals. You are the ark. You are carrying the seeds of the future economy through the flood. Hold the line. Keep your mouth shut. Keep your powder dry, and keep your silver deep. The system is dead. Long live the new money.